We got a lot to cover today. We got over a dozen downtowns that we want to hear from. We have a economic outlook just update from Albany. We're going to hear about the MTA capital plan, job opportunities associated with that. Hear about minority and women business opportunities for our downtowns. We'll hear from the Nassau Comptroller, and also we will. There's a couple other issues that we need to talk about and just get a full schedule going. So. Let me just start by saying this is the Long Island Main Street Alliance. This is our third meeting. We formed last July as a group that's solely focused on Main Streets. We ran the Long Island Business Council for 10 years, and that group wanted to get into all business issues, and we didn't. So we wanted to stay focused on Main Streets. So that's why we're here. And we're more than just business folks. We're civics, we're local government, we're advocates, we're labor, we're not-for-profits, all sorts of folks who support a Main Street agenda. And really, it's more than just businesses and Main Streets. So we really want everyone to kind of unite, and that's been the focus. We had our first meeting was kind of an economic outlook at the time and the grants opportunities, how to bring resources to Main Streets. We had a whole lot of folks here, and we also rallied around the National Grid pipeline, which we still need. Many of us know that, but at least there's not a moratorium, thankfully. So that is the first thing that we did. Then we had in October, we had a candidates forum here with Town of Hempstead candidates and and Suffolk County candidates for county exec. We had the county exec here and his challenger. So we moved through that and got a lot of issues raised. And so now we are here today to start the year with a whole lot of updates. So instead of having one speaker that's going to speak to you for 30 minutes and we all dutifully listen, we're going to actually hear from a lot of us, and there's a lot to do. With that, if you haven't filled out a feedback form to give us the issues that you care about on your Main Streets and how you want to plug into this coalition, of this alliance, please get us your name, your email, your phone, particularly your cell. We like to text. So also, I kind of started the year or ended the year with a op-ed that just talks about how we have to kind of stop the polarization and work together, and we know how to do that on a local level. So that's the good news. So that was published in Long Island Business News. They're just great. And then towards the back of your packet, let's just get through some announcements. We do have our Smart Growth Awards on June 12th. That is, our nominations are going in now in the next 30 days. They're due. We've gotten some in so far, but please send them in. We have our Complete Streets Summit down the road at Malloy College in East Farmingdale. And that will be, we're focusing on schools and health, as well as Main Streets as far as walkability. We still have some of the most dangerous roads in the state. So we're working on that. And then we will be in Albany, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, with our Long Island Lobby Coalition on February 25th. And then we have our Long Island Youth Summit, March 27th, Dr. Rogers. So that's happening. We're back on Long Island, St. Joe's College, so great. So these are some events that should just be on your radar. But let me stop with my opening remarks, and let's just get a quick go-around before we get into downtown updates. We ever heard from Mayor Ralph?
Hey, everyone. Farmingdale is doing great. We welcome you to our downtown. March 15th at 1 p.m. we have our 8th annual St. Patty's Day Parade. It's really a family event. We have places for strollers. We have kids menus. It's a real great time to take the children and grandchildren out to see our downtown. And real exciting news, we have the first business improvement district approved in Nassau County in probably a couple of decades. We were approved by Tom DiNapoli's office, the state controllers, and we are now doing the paperwork to form our executive board. It'll bring an additional between $40,000 and $50,000 of money to the downtown merchants, which will sit on the board with other members of the community to do marketing and events and planning for our downtown. If you're not familiar with business improvement districts, they're a great thing. If you looked in the 1990s, what it did to the Times Square area in New York City, and we're very proud to have accomplished that. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Just name and affiliation, yeah.
Good morning, Eric. Lauren Tacker, quickly to say that the villages are very busy with the growth. All over the 64 villages in Nassau, and I can't speak for the ones in Suffolk, but there is plenty of growth coming out of the villages now, which is what we wanted. I think what our problem is going to do is overpopulation, but we'll have to deal with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. Dennis Grossman.
Dennis Grossman, I'm president of the Nassau Council of Chambers, president of the Great Neck Chamber, and chair of the Great Neck Board of Zoning Appeals. We have a lot of good projects going on in Great Neck, and we're moving forward and trying to reorganize things to make them a little bit better.
Stephanie Goldhorn, Executive Director of the Shopping Center.
Thank you.
Morning, Vita Scaturo, Vice Chair of the Chamber of Commerce.
Kevin Walsh, partner with BBS Architects in Patchogue.
You're also, you Patchogue Chamber too.
Patchogue Chamber.
Great.
Deborah O'Connor, BBS Architects.
Good morning, Patty Warren from the city of Long Beach. I'm very active with our chamber.
Paul Trapani, president of ListNet, Long Island Software and Technology Network.
And Paul, you are plugged into, you're really trying to get into downtowns. You cited in different downtowns before,
Correct.
Great Neck, Mineola,
Yep.
Huntington, so you're open for business as far as getting tech folks into the downtown areas.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to point that out, you gotta know.
Good morning, Tony Tanzi, President of the Kings Park Chamber of Commerce.
And just, Tony has been involved, where's Linda Henninger? Linda, there's Linda. These two, like dynamic duo, if folks don't know, there's an article in the packet about the two of them getting sewer dollars, which hasn't come. We might get a more full update from them in a minute, but I just wanted to shout out to you guys. Yeah.
Good morning, Deborah Newlake, Nassau County Legislator.
And not to stop her also, but also push forward the complete streets in Walden. Heard a lot about the zoning just yesterday. We'll hear about that in a bit, but congratulations to you for taking a strong stand in the community. Good stuff.
Good morning, Randy Kaplan, former Long Island lobbyist for 25 years, looking for a new affiliation.
Rosemary Muscali, I chair of the Sustainable Transportation Committee for the U.S. Green Building Council, and I'm a member of the Greater Manhasset Civic.
Sarah Oral, Cameron Engineering, but today I'm wearing my hat as a Rosalind trustee.
Lisa Valinsky, Transit Solutions. We're a national brand trying to reduce traffic congestion and improve air quality. So talk to me.
Good morning, Frank Leffering from Greenman Peterson, involved in the downtown master plan for Lindenhurst. We're going to present the draft recommendations on the 28th at the Lindenhurst Middle School, so it's a public meeting.
We may cycle back to Lindenhurst. There's a lot of great work that's been done. I know Andy's here too from the chamber, so stay tuned. Yeah.
I am Wendy O'Neill. I'm the assistant to the mayor of Amityville, friendly Bay Village. I'm going to be here for my first visit on Island, and Main Street.
Great to have you.
Good morning, Shelley Grace, Town of Hempstead, Office of Senior Councilwoman Dr.
Great job.
Good morning, Lisa Fernandez. I'm currently with the Urban League, moving over to Suffolk County government shortly.
Like any day now.
Any day now.
I'm Carolyn Shaw Marger with CSM Engineering. We're a consulting engineering firm on Long Island that we do work with the counties and the state and the city of New York.
Good morning, Joe Maglia from Citizen Solutions Network.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Mike Kearns with Finishing Solutions Network. Try to shorten it to FSN. It is kind of short to say. We work with the local painters, tapers, wall covers, industrial painters, glazers, union labors. Over 8,000 members, and on Long Island, breaking down to stuff in Nassau, it's about 1,500 members. So we're pretty much local everywhere. Just met Eric and the organization about a year ago, and this is our first. So thank you.
Thanks. You didn't miss much. We're only on our third, so.
Okay. Lance Peshko, concerned citizen of the Plainview Organization Community.
Data on that, Carol Manscale, also a public airport working group. We're most concerned about getting a viaduct or walkway across 110 for connectivity from the airport plaza to Nowheres to Farmdale University, downtown village. We're concerned about a master plan there. I'm also concerned about the whole view of Long Island growing up here. And it's wonderful what the incorporated villages are doing, and hats off to you. But you know what, we have all the unincorporated hamlets, also in beautification, like Plainview maybe, you know, they could do some street lamps and maybe some pavers, so that we're one beautiful landscape where people leave Queens to come to.
Beautification's
Set it
important.
up.
It's something you've always cared about as a civic. I know that, Carol.
And you're
Stuff.
a person.
This is a nice, warm, friendly morning. I want someone to throw something for them. Tomahawks.
Karen
Karen.
Longobardo, Baldwin Civic Association. As you mentioned yesterday, we were in the town of Hempstead where they passed the zoning overlay district, clearing the way for the secret process, which is also clearing the way for downtown revitalization that we got from New York State. And so we're in a position to move, and we're waiting to really see something from that.
That's great. Let's give a hand. On the later, but many years of planning, like 4 different plans, and only four.
20 years.
20 years. And it's one of those places that people said nothing will ever happen. And I think everybody stuck together and built consensus. And believe it or not, multiple administrations, it's passed through, and now.
And as Carol said, it's very difficult when you're unincorporated. It's a lot easier when you have a village administration. You are a habit. And the town of Hempstead is just one of many that they take care of. It doesn't always get the attention it should.
And thank you, Karen, for being a great advocate. Let's give Karen a hand again. In your packet, there's an article on the action that just took place, so now we're looking forward to some development on it. So, Cindy.
Cindy Martinfeld, Infinity Relations, Marketing, Estimating.
Lots of stuff. Trudy Fitzsimmons, Vision, and Lively and Fitzsimmons.
Kate Leslie, Lively and Fitzsimmons Inc. We write the Synchronicity Network newsletter, which celebrates good people doing great things on Long Island, like you folks. And I am also a managing partner of the Firefly Artists, which is a very eclectic Main Street gallery in Northport, New York.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Flores, and I am the Executive Director for Nassau County Office of Hispanic Affairs. And thank you, Eric, for inviting me today.
Great. We got a good topic to look into. So.
Good morning, I'm Andrea Bonilla, Renaissance Downtown, South Huntington Station.
David Spencer, the other one here is
David Stonehill, Board of Directors, Hispanic Counseling Center. We do outpatient work in mental health, chemical dependency, family wellness, etc.
Sal Ferrara, owner and director of the Electrical and Heating and Air Conditioning Refrigeration Center, member of the Suffolk County Department of Labor, Workforce Development, Habitat for Humanity, Board of Directors, and Chambers of COPEC.
Right.
Larry Farrell, I'm with the Association, formerly
All right, that's a big one.
Trevor Danilo Archibald, on Youth and Community Center of Belmont, and education from the Center of Minority Youth throughout Long Island.
Great attitude to me. Thank you. Mayor.
Good morning. My name is Mayor Horn. I'm a transportation consultant, mostly retired.
You're not retired. You're not retired. I see you all the time. You can't be retired.
I brought him to Florida and he's skinny.
From Pro Bono Rights Advocacy Newsday, they gave it good coverage back in November, commenting on the governor's plan for LaGuardia Air Train. If it's at Willits Point, it's almost useless to everyone in this room. They do it from Woodside. It's really valuable. And I got a few more of those coming out.
All right, we'll watch. Kevin.
Good morning. Kevin Lyons, Safety and Environmental Professional, and I'm the Secretary of the Ronkonkoma Chamber of Commerce.
Thanks for being here.
David Sinclair from the Inn in Hempstead, advocate for affordable housing and changing people's lives.
That's just that mission is just wow, changing people's lives. It's beautiful. No, the Inn is an amazing organization. Let's just give a hand to the work the Inn does for so many years. Thank you for being here. I saw Gene the other day. Gene Kelly's
Juan Medes from Vice President of Island Park Chamber of Commerce. I'm also on the National Council of Chambers. One of the things we're doing on the Island Park is getting ready to do the road work on Austin Boulevard that goes to Long Beach Road. And that's going to be 2 lanes going south, and 3 lanes going north. We're going to put side bumpers for shoppers, so it's more safety. Safety is a big concern for Austin Boulevard. There's been a lot of accidents and death in Austin Boulevard, and we're still trying to recover from Sandy. A lot of businesses still recover from Sandy, so Island Park has been one of the towns that are most affected, unfortunately, during the Sandy. So I'm here to be an advocate for Island Park. Thank you very much.
Great job.
Good morning, Elizabeth Wellington, Deputy Director for the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce.
Valerie Anderson Campbell, Nassau County Director for the Long Island African American Chamber, and we're also part of the Nassau Council's teams.
Well, and also part of the Long Island Lobby Coalition. You're going up to Albany, so we're really excited. This is great. Good stuff, guys. Listen.
Elizabeth Custodio. I am Community Development and CRA Officer for People's United Bank in New York, and also on the board of the Long Island Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Also on the Long Island Regional Planning Council, trustee at Sumio Westford.
Okay. You're in a lot of places. You're busy.
All important causes.
Thank you for being here. Sharon.
Sharon Mullen, I'm the Fair Housing Educator at Long Island Housing Partnership, and I've been very busy with trainings for realtors, property developers, and property managers.
Just, I'm going to stop for a second. Housing discrimination issues, that's what you do. In a minute, what should we be doing? Give us our homework now.
You really can't do it in a minute.
No, I know, but when's your next training, or when's the next action folks can take?
Conference soon, but what we're doing now is individual trainings by contract for different groups that want training and need training. So I did get my certification from part of the state, so that realtors can get continuing ed credit.
So people should see you for guidance on how to get through the quagmire that may be facing their communities or their business. Okay.
And I'm not an attorney, so I set that out there. I'm not providing legal advice, I'm providing educational information.
Thank you, Sharon. Also, Sharon's on the vision board too, so glad to have you. Yeah, we'll start over here. Yeah.
I'll start.
Hey, Terry.
Sarah Black, I'm the president of the Education Chamber of Commerce. We are also an unincorporated hamlet in the town of Oyster Bay. We recently reorganized ourselves from the Oregon Division of Long Island, Eric, about 20 years ago. We reorganized. We're about 100 members strong now, and anxious to reach out to people in the room. If there are any representatives from Saxonic here, we are actively searching out information regarding business improvement district, perhaps an overlay district, or perhaps incorporating, because we feel the same challenge that as an unincorporated village, and also the home of the deadliest grade level station. We don't have a grade level crossing, we have a grade level station. It's on the Ronkonkoma line, that big train station. And we have a lot of moving parts, and we're really anxious to glean some information today, and I'd like to introduce my colleagues as well. Good morning, everyone. I'm Carol Ann Catapano. I'm the secretary and executive board member for the Bethpage Chamber of Commerce, also executive board member of the Bethpage Community Council, which is our United Nations, if you will, of Bethpage, and former executive board member of the Nassau Council of Chambers of Commerce. And our chamber is looking forward to getting more involved with the Nassau Council. Hi, I'm Maria Davis, the second president of the Bethpage Chamber of Commerce.
You guys are all out today. This is awesome. Bethpage in the house. Right. All the way from Port Jefferson. Kevin.
From Port Jefferson. Good morning, Kevin Root, parking administrator for the Friendly Field in Port Jefferson.
How's the parking doing here? Not as good as you guys, right? Or about the same?
I think it'll be parked, to be honest.
Okay.
You gotta know something somewhere. Speaking about bids, our bid and our village are really doing some wonderful things this year, starting in 2019 is this year. And you're all invited to our February 8th, 9th Ice Festival that the bid is putting on.
All right, pretty cool. Call back on you in a minute when we get further along. Andy.
Yes, I'm Andrew. I'm the treasurer with the Wittenhurst. Just want to thank Eric for inviting me. Also, he's true passion for all of us. So really, appreciative of all the work you do. UPI, yes.
I just want to have your hair again. I used to have hair like that. It's gone.
But yeah, I just wanted to announce that GPI, along with the village, will be presenting our downtown master plan on the 28th of this month. So if you guys are interested, please stop by. It's at the Lindenhurst Middle School, so you'll see all the interesting things that Lindenhurst is doing. If you haven't been there, you should check it out. Downtown Lindenhurst has a lot of interesting things. A lot of new businesses have popped up, so come down, check it out.
What time is that on the 28th?
It's at 6:30. I sent you the invite.
Okay.
So if you want to pass it along,
I
no
will.
pressure.
No, we will. We got to figure out how we're communicating with everybody. Good stuff, Andy. Sean?
Sean Cronin Law Firm. We do property tax related work throughout town.
And he's being humble, you know, probably through this whole tax assessment world and everything related to tax changes. He's like busy nonstop around the clock, so he's a guy to know on the tax stuff. So go see Sean. He's also on board.
A lot going on.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Melissa Kyle, Vision Long Island.
Eric Dukes, Deputy Director at Nassau County. We administer Owen's consolidated programs.
And she's being really humble. Administering community development block grants, but also a TOD fund for downtowns in Nassau County, which I'm sure like a dozen of us will apply for. So great stuff, great work that you guys do for downtowns. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. I'm Ellen Kelly. I'm working with Self-Help Realty now on a wonderful affordable senior housing project in my home village of Freeport, which will break ground this year, designed by the international firm of Daniel Libeskind. So we're very excited.
Thank you.
Cameron Styra, also with Self-Help.
Ken Patrick, Greenlawn Civic Association, and a proud graduate of leadership Huntington, $100 an hour.
All right, in the house, Greenlawn, Pacific in the house. Love it, love it. John Belport's all the way up from Belport.
John Rogers, Greater Belport Coalition.
Well, I'll come back to you in a little bit too, so, yeah.
Julie McKibben, Town of Islip, CPA.
All right.
James Barrett, Town of Islip, CDJ.
Good morning, Neil Lewis, Sustainability Building Institute, Malloy College, just down the road at Dover Public Airport.
And Neil, I'm going to cycle back to you on solar mandate, so if that's still happening, so I'm sure.
Marilyn Nurse, Southwold Glenara Realty, member of the Syosset Chamber of Commerce.
Great.
Debbie Cabinet, Centralized Coalition of Good Neighbors, also member of the Town of Islip CDA.
I'm going to cycle back to you in a minute too. Yes.
Darren Green, Hempstead Chamber of Commerce.
Darren's in the house. Thank you. Marilyn, did I get you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Linda Henninger, Vision Long Island, Kings Park Civic Association.
Great.
John Kamen, Deputy County Executive, Suffolk County.
And anything more? A lot going on in Suffolk County. Can I call you up in a minute? Okay.
Michelle Schimmel, Sunny May, State of New York Mortgage Agency. We are the state government, and we provide mortgages for low to moderate income first-time home buyers. Get to know us.
Great, great. Thank you for being here. Great opportunity for affordable housing in a way that you don't necessarily know that the state does. You know, you're like, wow. It's like the state does some good things. All right, let's. We got labor in the house again.
Ryan Stanton, Long Island Federation of Labor.
Thanks, Ryan.
Hi, Ron Rowell, formerly a longtime Newsday editor, reporter, now an independent journalist, working with a lot of work with AARP, collaboration with Eric for the age-friendly community initiative.
Great, AARP in the house. Thanks, Ron.
Imran Ansari, Discover Long Island.
Well, we know Imran is the governor's rep for Nassau County for a very long time, and now he's with Discover Long Island. So we'll see him in both counties and still helping us. Good stuff. Thank you.
Jim McCaffrey, Town of Oyster Bay Economic Development.
I'm going to call you on Hicksville in a minute.
Sure.
Cool.
Sherry South, Nimitan.
Sherry. Nimtec's here. Good.
Marcos Maldonado, McBride Consultant.
Great.
We smoked this, my Consultant.
We'll hear from Lewis in a little bit, so that's great. Anybody we missed? Oh, yeah. Yes.
Gina Coletti, co-chair, Suffolk County Alliance of Chambers. I'm on the Suffolk County Downtown Revitalization Board, and I chair the Suffolk County Women's Advisory Council.
Great. I'm going to try to get to you in a minute.
Hi, Rogers, Long Island Youth Summit, Long Island Main Street Alliance, and I also do
morning, Lionel Chitty, Executive Director of Madison County Office of Minority Affairs.
Vanessa Laco, Long Island Member, and Government.
Great. So, oh, Corey, did we skip over you?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Corey Dirac, Queens Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, sorry. I don't know how that happened. Oh, Steve.
Steve Flottering, Suffolk County Legislators, 11th District, which is the West Nysa, Bay Shore Brightwaters, part of Fire Island, and some parts of the Island.
And a big leader in the Bay Shore revitalization effort. So, thank you for what you're doing. I know there's a lot going on there. So, all right. So we got I want to get a bunch of updates in real quick before we get to kind of our Main Street Economic Outlook program. So I need people to be really sharp here. So I think we covered Baldwin. Was there anything more? Okay, so we got Baldwin. Lindenhurst, is there anything more on Lindenhurst, Andy? Or Frank, you got the hearing coming up.
Come to the meeting.
Come to the meeting on the 28th. Okay, great stuff. I mean, the Tri-Tech building's moving forward, but there's a lot of new restaurants.
Yeah, a lot of new restaurants popped up. Tri-Tech is plugging along. We had a walkability study that will be that was incorporated into the downtown master plan. So yeah, I want to still the meetings, but come down on the 28th and check this out.
Okay, sounds great. Mayor Ralph, anything more for Farmingdale?
No, I did it.
You did it before, just making sure we covered. Jim McCaffrey, Hicksville's in the house. Tell us what's going on.
We just, in conjunction with the county, finished a traffic study for the downtown Hicksville. We should be getting the results from that in March, and we'll use that to complete our secret, and hopefully we'll have the downtown rezoned in June. And we're still working with the MTA to get a parking garage for downtown Hicksville.
Good. Glad those are still going on. That dialogue is still happening, and folks like development around the train station. Some of the proposals outside the train station area aren't going over too well. So you know that. So stay tuned on Hicksville, but there's progress, right? Closer than we've been.
This is as close as we've ever been.
Okay.
2020 is the year.
Okay. All right. I like it. 2020 is the year. Let's give him a hand for that. Just some positive energy. We're going to channel back to the town today. We're 10 years into this plan. There have been people who are 30 years from now. All right. So good stuff. Anything more on Kings Park, Tony?
Nothing other than, obviously you know her, but Kings Park is kind of, and we've joined with the Civic Association and several other organizations within our community. Linda, who's taking the pictures, worked hand in hand with the Chamber as president of the Civic Association. And over the last 4 years, with a ton of help from Vision Long Island, and Eric, thank you very much, we were able to secure a $20 million grant from the state to put sewers in our downtown. And finally, after a long, drawn-out process of, we'll call it quagmire in Albany, we seem to have run a marathon just to get to the starting line, and now we are ready to roll. So starting in 2020, we are actually moving forward. Everything is cleared, and Kings Park will be getting sewer. So if anybody's looking to relocate their business or looking to building in Kings Park, we are certainly a place that is open and ready for business. Thank you.
So great. Linda, anything to complement that? We always got to get the Civic and the Chamber.
No, other than the Civic and the Chamber working together was the only way this was accomplished. Community and business hand in hand.
Let's give these guys a hand. Another community people said nothing, well, no disrespect to you guys, but we were told nothing will ever happen there. So, just saying. Ever. Yeah. I know there seems to be a few places like that, but we break the mold. Speaking of a place that people said nothing will ever happen, but things are happening. Things are actually physically being built. Huntington Station, where's Andrew Bonilla? Yeah, Andrew.
So we finished the building in 2018. We will finish another mixed-use building this summer. And we will also hopefully finish a land transfer that's been going on for about 6 years this year that will allow for an affordable housing building and a hotel. And we will hopefully finish a feasibility study for sewers south of the train station. That's a joint partnership with the town, the county, and a whole lot of agencies, and that will bring sewers as well.
Tell us the process. I mean, you kept the community engaged, like you've kept the community engaged, like a whole group of folks. Just give us a snapshot of that.
7 years working with the community, going to every event, every house. I've been invited to every place, every phone call. I think everyone in Huntington Station probably has my number. But that really, the outreach to the community has been the #1 contributing factor to the success success. Huntington Station has been waiting for revitalization for 50 years. And it took us only 5 years to get started, which in Long Island is pretty big game changer.
All right, let's give Andrea a hand. Yeah, you see the changes. You see right next. I think Alyssa, right next to your house, something went up. And you supported it at the hearing, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like everybody says NIMBY. Everybody's NIMBY, right? It's like there's a lady right next door to her house in the building. You're literally in your backyard, and she's at the hearing, like saying, "Yeah, we support it." So, yeah, interesting. So, just to note, 89 of 110 public hearings for your projects have had more public supporters at the hearings than opponents. So all that NIMBYism is either happening outside of downtowns or on bad projects that deserve to get beat up, or it's just not as bad as Newsday, I didn't say that, right? Or others that are pushing polarization are saying, you know, so we have to be rational and you know, continue to build public support on the ground, and we're doing it, and that's great news. Let's hear from a couple others. Port Jeff's in the house. What are you guys doing other than, I know you got your ice event, which sounds really cool, and those 2 cigar shops, which I love. But what else is happening in Port Jeff?
Open the Fast, the Dickens was the most successful ever.
Right.
Next year is the 25th anniversary of the Dickens Festival. Our downtown is buzzing, as you know. The 2 new projects that are underway right now are Cabby's and Overbay, which will result in another 100 plus units. Uptown, yeah, we're getting there. The Hills did sell out before COs were even given, so it's a wonderful apartment space there. Our next place to look at is right next to the train station. The train station has been redone. Parking lot has been redone. We've redone a parking lot next to that. So we're months away from trying to get that first project going, which will involve Conifer most likely, and our Station Street that we'll build there. That's right to the north of the MTA parking lot. That would be the place to demarcate a big renaissance there, if you will.
That's great.
Everything else in terms of zoning incentives is in place, as you know.
And you did comp plan a few years ago with public input, so you kind of laid the groundwork for this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Go right, let's give a hand to Port Jeff. Amityville's in the house. We'll get to you early. So I always ask Dennis to come down. I know he's slammed today. Thank you for being here. Just a quick snapshot. You're doing a few things.
Sure. Our downtown revitalization is picking up momentum. We established a transit-oriented district. Our land tech project, which is 115 rental units alongside the railroad station, has begun demolition of the former construction yard owned by Land Tech, which is going to be taking shape soon. And also we're working with Avalon Bay on 300 plus rental units on the site of the old Brunswick Hospital. That is in the permit stages, and we're looking at parking needs and parking inventory, and wrapping up a village survey, which really solicited opinions and needs on everything from environmental issues to transportation and commerce and business in the village. So we're looking forward to a lot of new information and projects going forward.
Great. And your hearings have been positive, right? Working with the public, you're definitely...
Even the people who live opposite these developments, like you said, they're in the backyards. They want to see change. They want to see something attractive, and they want to see the downtown picking up pace and seeing, feet on the street.
That's great. And I kind of knew that, but I didn't really know it, so thank you for sharing that. I just think we got to get this message out better, because I don't even know that it's been a positive experience with the community. I kind of know, but like, if I don't know it and we don't know it collectively here, we got to get the word out to others in ways we haven't. Yep. Thank you. Sarah, how's Rosalind?
Rosalind actually has stuff going on, which is very weird because there hasn't been much movement here. As you guys know, we're a historic village, and one of the most exciting things is the old grist mill, which is located right on the main street, is getting lifted tomorrow. If you don't know, in the early 1900s when the road was paved, it was paved 3 feet higher than the entrance to the building. So raising the grist mill and restoring it will allow it to be integrated into our main street, and we don't yet know what kind of use it will be, but that's really exciting. But also exciting is there are several multifamily developments that are in the process of, in the next couple of months, they'll be brought before the board. And there was a petition to change the zoning adjacent to the Roslyn train station for TOD development. I just want to talk about that because there has been some misinformation in the news. There is no application for development on that site, and it was a petition for change of zone. A petition does not have a pass or a fail, so just keep an eye out for potential movement in the future, but right now there's nothing happening on that site.
I heard that project has 300 kids coming to the school. It was on Facebook just yesterday. I'm serious. You're going to address that, right? You got a study or something to deal with? Sorry.
No comment.
Okay.
And like I said, there is no project yet. So anything you've seen about a project is, there's no project.
I believe everything I read on Facebook. Everything. I'm like the guy in Spinal Tap. I believe everything I read. Old reference. Sorry. All right. So let's move over to Suffolk County. And thank you. Let's give a hand for things happening in Roslyn. And let's give a hand for Amityville. I'm sorry, I missed your clap. Great stuff. All right. 2 more updates, then we're gonna shift into some of our fixed agenda. Let's get to John Bellport.
People have been working on community development in Bellport since 1970.
Just tell us the last couple of years.
They reconstitute themselves to be Bellport since 2006.
Speak up, stand up, man. Give it up.
For mixed use,
Yeah.
Montauk Highway, the train station, 2015, we have 2 compounds for planned Main Street. The park construction is going to start in April, and then construction of the balance of Main Street next, and then the support of the town.
Great. Great to see things happen, right? A lot of years planning, but thanks. Let's give him a hand. Let's give him a hand for all the work. Smart Growth Award-winning project from DNF Development this last year.
One missing link is sewers.
Oh, yes, you have to do that.
Right now, well, it's not supply of sewers myself. However, county on the same page.
You should come to Albany with us and lobby for sewers. We'll talk about that. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. Central Islip, last update, and then we'll pivot back to some more.
EPA has been awarded $600,000 money from the downtown revitalization grant to distribute to the storefronts. People have to apply and we're working on the legalities of it. And basically our senior center by the town of Islip is being revamped.
Okay. Now, you had another issue that you guys were raising on a community level. This came up at our Suffolk Chambers meeting.
Last night we had Monique Lefray, Leslie Anderson from the DA's office, Lisa from the Sheriff's Department, and Alonzo from the defense attorney, prosecution areas. We were talking about the bail reform bill, and basically our community in Central Islip came out against it. What people don't realize is that part of the bail reform bill is if your child gets molested and the perp gets arrested, he's given a bench ticket to appear in court and he's back out on the street the same day. That's what's happening with the bail reform bill up in Albany. And up in Albany, just so you're aware, Senator Flanagan brought it to the floor the first week to put a hold on the bill until they work out all the kinks, and it went down party lines. The Republicans voted to stop the bill, and the Democrats voted to keep the bills going on. The other piece of legislation that person gets arrested, they have 15 days to provide a defense attorney with all the stuff that they're being charged with. That includes DNA testing, and if DNA testing is being held up and the judge does not grant the prosecutor the time that the test is done, then the test can't be used in the court system. So what's happening up in Albany is they're putting the taxpayers' lives in jeopardy. Those of you that are sitting here, all law-abiding citizens, your lives now in jeopardy by these two bills.
Right. Okay.
So, and our website.
And so you guys are fighting.
We're working on it.
Okay.
Anybody who has a civic association, we actually have form letters already printed. And you can give me your email address, I'll email it to you, Word documents, all you have to.
Thank you, David. We've received 6 or 7 calls or emails from different communities. I just want to know by show of hands here, how many folks are concerned about or opposed to the bail reform, the new bail reform? So I'd say almost 2/3 of the folks here raised their hand, and maybe some of you. You know, I don't want to put people on the spot, you know, the other way. And I respect that there's a lot of media issues. No, I get it the other way. No, and that's okay. I mean, I think it's an issue. We're not experts in public safety, our organization for sure, so it's been hard for us to figure out how to wade into this. But we've certainly heard this at the Suffolk Chambers meeting. We've heard it from activists in Hempstead, obviously from Central Islip, Riverhead. So, you know, I think it's communities with courts, you know, as well as folks just deeply concerned about public safety. So we got to stay on this and monitor it. I'm not saying we take action a second or in any way, but we definitely, if anybody has information that want to share with us, pro or con, I think it's just important that we get good information together. But obviously there are folks taking action right now in Albany, so stay tuned. And that segues into our Albany report, which is actually pretty good. And I know there's 3 or 4 communities we're going to get updates from your communities in a minute, but I want to get going with our program. So Retha, what do you got?
Thank you. I just wanted to make one comment, going back to the development. Yes. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this at this roundtable. I am working with the Urban League of Long Island on our racial equity project. And what I would want to encourage everyone with regard to affordable housing and revitalization is to really consider the unintended consequences of these types of developments for the people that live in those communities.
It's like gentrification?
Yes.
Use the word,
yes,
word.
Gentrification, because it is happening on Long Island, and I think it's in the best interest of all residents of Long Island that we consider who may be unintentionally harmed by these developments. And particularly,
or intentionally. I mean, you've got a situation just down the road.
I don't want to say
no, I'm just being blunt. Let's just be blunt. 150 mobile homes were wiped out to put in Graybarn.
Correct.
And people were, I don't say they made homeless, but they got like $10,000 to leave.
Right.
That's awful.
So Eric, I am going to assume best intent. So for everyone around this table, consider unintended consequences and the communities that may be harmed as a result of these developments, and really where people will be able to live. The people that live there now, will they be able to live in their community 10 years down the line? Thank you.
Thanks, Rita. And I just want to say, I know these projects have not moved people out of their homes, you know. So I know a lot, but there have been some examples that are hideous, you know, and I certainly share that. So thank you for raising that. So let's get to our New York State report. There's a lot in the, you know, and I'll ask for a little dialogue on this. We were to have the governor's staff to present the state of the state and the budget report. They all got called up to Albany. So they're all up there. I think the governor was giving his budget address, and they're up there for some follow-up strategy. So they're not here today to give this. It's all online, the budget. I think we're all trying to digest it and analyze it. You know, there is continued money. We'll hear about, you know, the capital plan of the MTA. Folks want to increase STOA dollars like they did last year for the buses. That's a big issue. There's more money for affordable housing in the budget. There's an environmental bond in the budget. Then where it's going to get spent to be determined, but there's a lot of potentially good stuff for water and wastewater alongside that. We are, some of the, there's some revenue issues as far as, I know some folks have been opposed here to legalizing marijuana. I know Mayor Ralph, I think you led a task force that ended up, and you guys ended up being opposed to marijuana.
It's not the right time in Nassau County with our opiate crisis to give children another food.
So there's a push to legalize marijuana. There's polls that show that it's largely supported. It's not enormous amounts of revenue that would go to the state. I don't know, very little goes to the community. So this will get addressed on some level, one way or another.
Legalization, they were just against stores.
Stores on the main streets. Yeah. No, big issue for folks. We've heard this again and again. That's not how. That's a use you don't want to fill your stores with. So I respect that. So there's a lot of different issues in the budget in the state. There's supposed to be a tax cut for small businesses. Details to be determined. How that will impact everybody positively if you run a small business. That's in the budget as well. So I guess we're all trying to digest it. It's still a little soon. We did want to get a fuller update, but does anybody have any? We're going to be heading to Albany with our Lobby Coalition. We've got a meeting coming up next week. If folks want to join us, on our agenda are sewers, transportation, economic development, dollars for different downtowns, some many infrastructure projects and parking projects, environmental initiatives. So there's a whole slew of things, and we've been able to pass a lot through the years. We're up at the state address. About 15 members of our coalition, mostly civics and chambers. We're up and kind of got to connect to a lot of the key people that decide things, all the various elected officials. So if folks want to join us, please do. Just let me know before we leave today. Any thoughts? I saw Ryan's hand. He's part of the Lobby Coalition. Ryan, what do you got?
Yeah, just down on the back for just 1 second. Not that I'm trying to advocate one way or the other on legalization of adult use cannabis. You mentioned that there wasn't a lot of revenue for communities. Unless you know something I don't know, the actual mechanics of where the revenue is going to go is not something that's been negotiated. So
last year, I should have said last year.
Okay. Yeah,
it was a very small amount. It was like $2 million.
Yeah, the way it's currently structured is it's not currently structured. So. I mean,
yeah.
So ultimately, if communities are looking to make their case, that could be and should be probably part of the discussion. Now, if you're opposed to it, you're opposed to it, and I'm not looking to debate that. I just want to make clear that that's part of the discussion if you're not opposed to it.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for that clarity. We have another bite at the apple if it's about 90 cents. If it's not, well then. Huh. How do you get the money? All right, this is interesting. Okay. All right, so let's leave that for a minute. Any other items related to the state budget that folks are concerned about? I mean, beyond bail reform, that folks want to, that should be on an agenda. Obviously, we are shaping our Lobby Coalition agenda, but there might be separate things that this group could stand up for, or do a press conference on. So we're open to hearing some issues. Kevin, what do you got?
Property tax related, the budget cuts, the star rebates might be a victim of getting cuts.
Right.
Star rebate checks.
Yeah, they're saying that. Yep. Okay. Anything else, guys? Go once, go twice. Move on to our next part of our agenda. Okay, that's easy. That was easy. All right, so one thing we wanted to do today in an economic outlook is focus on how Main Street businesses can benefit from the construction that's underway in our downtowns and also how people can really get jobs out of these situations and supply chains tied to your chamber members and your civic members and folks in your community. Because when people see development happening and then they see people from out of town or not, they live through construction for all this time, but how does this benefit us, So I think there's always concerns about that. And also people want to see the construction that's happening actually benefit the community as far as the types of things people need. So we're going to have a couple sets of comments tied to this. And first, we're starting with the MTA capital plan. Big news, $50 billion. I mean, it's just like, enormous amount of money. There wasn't a lot of public input in the process, but given that there's a lot of good stuff in there, some of us aren't complaining. But there were not meetings like this where people were raising questions and all that. But we're very happy with a lot of the good work that's been done. And we've had Phil Eng out many times at our summits and at some of our meetings, at one meeting here. And I just want to say thank you. Vanessa Lockle, who's been an old friend, is doing a great job at the MTA, is here to share some thoughts. Vanessa.
Thank you so much, Eric. I really appreciate it. Hi, everyone. I'm Vanessa Lockle, as was mentioned. I see a lot of friends around in the room, and I'm really grateful to be invited to speak today on behalf of the MTA. I am part of the Government and Community Affairs team. I welcome you to reach out to me at any given moment to talk about any of the issues that are pertaining to you regarding your relationship with the Long Island Railroad. Believe you me, we've been working very closely with Hicksville, with Amityville, with Port Jefferson, with Lindenhurst, with many of the communities that are represented here today. May it be great relationships, but the good news is that we're dedicated with the transition team to come in and really change the image of what people have in regards to their relationship with the Long Island Railroad. So I take today's opportunity to tell you not only about some of the updates that Eric alluded to with the upcoming capital budget, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the importance of making sure that we come out into your community and speak in regards to all of these issues as well, and how it can impact in your community. So for your chambers, open invitation to please invite us or I'll definitely get a special subject matter expert to come out and speak in regards to these issues. So please take advantage of that. We have a ton of people, a ton of information, and I just think that there's a disconnect in the transparency because we just don't go out enough and tell people what we're doing, okay? So please take advantage of that. With that being said, this year looks amazing, right? We have this year and next year, we have Third Track, we have the Grand Central Terminal. A lot of people talk about it as an East Side Access. All of these things are coming to fruition in the next 2 years. What does that mean for our community? A lot of open-ended opportunity for jobs, we need to hire people to work all these new locations. We need to train people. So even though these deadlines are, the station's gonna open 2022, we all have to be ready in advance of that. So I encourage you to, I know there's a lot of different news that goes on out there, but please check our portal, our MTA portal, to get that information in regards to how do I get involved, or how do I find or access what's happening that might pertain to me or my community. Okay, so please check a lot about that in regards to those coming projects. So what Eric talked about is that 2024 capital project, $51.5 billion that are coming to MTA. We're very excited about this. As you can imagine, the MTA is undergoing a massive transition through the consolidation. You have many different groups coming together and trying to work together, becoming more efficient and trying to expedite a lot of the work. So I encourage and I appreciate and thank you for your patience in dealing with a lot of the process that comes with working with the railroad. So procurement process and things like that in some of our projects, I'll talk a little bit about that. But what does $51.5 billion look like to Long Island? Specifically, we are getting $5.7 billion of that money to the Long Island Railroad. And I know Queens is here. I'll also speak a little bit about Queens, but from the perspective of the railroad. A lot of the information I'm sharing here is not totally public yet. It is available for you on the link. I just sent it to Eric, so he can distribute that to the group if you guys want more information on how the breakdown is.
And we're on video, so it will be public in a little bit. So
perfect. Thank you. Great. So, yay, real time talk, right? So, in regards to the $5.7 billion, I just want to read real quickly. Track updates. that would be $1 billion. So these are things that I'm going to speak to you in bundles. And then I hope that we can work on a community, very local level to decide how, or to discuss what exactly of that will be allocated to your region. So I know some people, when we talk about the ADA stuff, a lot of people are like, well, I wanted elevators. Why don't we get elevators? We'll talk about that in a minute. Every community, we're more than willing to go out and talk to and listen to about what the needs. It's really about the money. We're getting some money. So, but please know that there's still some people that will feel like they may not have been appropriately represented through this new funding that's coming. Track upgrades are about $1 billion. So it's the installation of concrete ties, all that good stuff. We have station accessibility and improvements. That's $910 million. That includes some of that ADA stuff. That includes elevators, that includes ramps, that includes upgrading our systems so that they are taking into consideration a lot of what we're lacking in accessibility. And I'm part of the ADA task force, so if any of you have any of those specific concerns, feel free to address those with me as well. We have about $364 million going to signals and switches, and we have $487 million going to rolling stock. That's like the purchase of like electronic type trains and things like that, and supplies. The reason why I'm telling you about the amount of money that's going into these pools is because you may be eligible to apply through your businesses and things like that to some of our different projects. This is called our procurement process. For some of you that were here earlier, you may have seen that I handed out this flyer. I apologize, I was given the last batch they had, but I will make all of this information accessible to Eric. Maybe we can take pictures and just post it. But to everybody who received this, I think who didn't get it, the most important part of this handout is to go to www.mymta.info or to go to the Long Island Railroad procurement site that you can find through there. But the MTA info, that's the best one. What is our procurement process? Procurement process is basically, we're a pseudo-state, so you have to bid and come in through the process to work with the Long Island Railroad. A lot of people say, who are your cleaners? Well, we have a staff that we currently employ. We're very close and are definitely maintaining and establishing a stronger relationship with our internal labor teams. And we want to respect them because they work very hard and we do love the work that they do. But through the procurement process, we are limited as a result of that on who we can bring on board. There's some specific opportunities that do allow us to do that. But this is the procurement process. So in architecture and engineering, if you guys have ability or jobs that can apply to that, as I read, there's so much money coming into those projects, so be on the lookout for these opportunities that present themselves. They'll also be in construction, and there's all different levels of construction. Yard expansion, sometimes people don't consider landscaping, that kind of fall under this. So paving, parking garages, I know. Bridge and tunnel restoration, they're little projects all the way to big projects. Don't be surprised about what may be available for you to apply to or for your businesses to apply to. Rolling stock, that's what we were saying before about our fleet and things like that. You may be surprised, we may be needing plastics, we may be needing certain things that fall under some of the stuff that is required by. So we're always looking for supporting our community as well in regards to some of these projects that you may be supporting or able to provide support services for. There's general services like landscaping, I already said, and also hazardous material like cleanups and things like that.
Bird control.
Oh my goodness, pigeon. The pigeon problem. I actually go to the pigeon calls. Guys, I go to everything. So the pigeon calls, we also have rodent issues. In Jamaica, Queens, we had over in Archer, there was literally so much pigeon poop. It was, but these are the types of issues and quality of life issues too. I know for many people, we were talking about our homelessness community, our underserved communities. Please know that we are working to make the commuter experience as well a little bit more inviting. We also have questions on maintenance of way and not questions. We also have support. We need support in maintenance of way and maintenance of equipment. So for any of you that have those services or can provide or are interested in procurement with the railroad, this is where you go for that opportunity. There's an application that's there as well. Oh, Jack's here. In addition to that, I want to talk about, well, what are the projects, Vanessa? You came all this way, you better tell me what's happening. So is this money actually going? I'm going to list them for you. Remember, they're bundles. So if you hear it and you want more information, don't hesitate. I'll give you that information offline. I know we have to wrap up super quick. So for Suffolk County, I'll start with Nassau County. I'll start with Queens. We have, and this may be the line. Locust Manor, the elevator installation is coming. That's a station that's been requesting that for a long time. We're bringing that up to ADA speed. We have Forest Hills, the station is getting a platform replacement, new elevators. Hollis Station is getting replacement and new elevators. Hunters Point Avenue Station is getting a rehab. Auburndale is getting an elevator replacement. St. Albans, they're getting a new elevator. They are so excited they're going to burst. This is an ADA community that's been requesting this for many years, and they were able to get it. Mets Willets Point, there are some station improvements for any of our Mets fans out there. Jamaica capacity improvements as well. And in Atlantic Avenue, we're doing a lot of work over by the tunnel security improvements and tunnel lighting. Nassau County, we have Central Branch electrification. This is going to be a very big announcement where people will be talking about that. If you look at the railroad, the way that it is, normally we can't go north to south. With the Central Branch electrification, this is the opportunity to bridge that gap and be able to be in Port Jefferson and navigate your way to Babylon. That's not the perfect scenario, but you could do it. It could be done now through the train system. So that's what the Central Branch electrification can provide. Please be on the lookout for that. Merrick Station platform and viaduct renewals. We're going to be doing the design work. Great Neck Station renewal. Port Washington Station improvements. We have Floral Park platform replacements. We have the replacement of Mineola elevators. Webster Avenue is getting a bridge replacement. Webster Avenue bridge replacement, sorry. Valley Stream elevator replacement. Port Washington, we're getting yard track extensions. Cherry Valley Road bridge replacement. The Baldwin platform replacement, we're doing the design for that. And then Lynbrook Station building, we're doing a renewal for that. Long Beach Station, where's my do we have Long Beach here? Patty, you're gonna love me, ready? You guys are getting a renewed station. We were supposed to make that public tonight at that meeting, but unfortunately.
This is a cool list.
I know, don't take pictures. I know I'm on camera, and I'm gonna get in trouble for this, I'll be all right. Patty, I just want you to know, it's a very big, you're getting about a very big amount. Can't say that. But this is very exciting. I was supposed to announce it tonight. I'm speaking at Amityville, and Ryan is sick. So, but you were going to get that announcement at tonight's thing, and that's what Kaminsky's been fighting for as well. Tactile warning strip installation at selected Nassau County stations, and Sea Cliff is getting their retaining wall and their ADA ramp that they've wanted. Now for Suffolk. Suffolk, we have our Babylon Station platform replacement and Babylon interlocking renewal. They're included into the Central Branch electrification. And that's what I said. If you look at the Long Island Railroad map and you see between the main line and there's like a little, I don't know if you guys see it, but it's where we use a lot of our diesel fleet. We're going to try to electrify that, and now our electric trains can go in and out of that. And that will make it much faster for us and be able to, it's just really great. Babylon to Patchogue signalization. By the way, for some of my crossings, do I have any people here who are upset at my crossings? They stay at the crossings too long? Oh, I love you guys. Oh, just you? I'm sorry. Sometimes I apologize in advance for the crossing delays. All right, but it's for your own safety. Then we have the Ronkonkoma parking garage rehab. We have We have the
This is like
honey.
Santa Claus. This is like awesome. Like, oh my God, I got my.
This list is public. It's just you're going to start seeing real announcements where people come back and really do the background with money dollars attached to it. That's what's really important. Right now, you're just like, what's the rehab? Until I go in there and say, oh, we're just painting. You want to know what the rehab is for real. So, but this is just enough to give you an idea of the dedicated. And this is through conversations that we've had through multiple people of some of the needs of the stations. We have the Northport overpass replacement. We have the Hunt to Post signalization, that's between the Huntington and Smithtown area. And we have the tactile warning strip installation at selected Suffolk County stations. There are some system-wide capital program investments.
I got to stop you.
I'm sorry. So I apologize for taking extra time. I just want to make sure I shared some of those projects as how it related to your communities and getting involved. If there was a community here that you feel may not have been represented, remember this is the 2024 capital project. You may be already in the capital project or in line for the future one. We do have current projects that are still happening. We have general maintenance that goes on. So don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have specific questions on your specific areas right away, stations. Okay? Yes?
Vanessa, what about moving the Yakang station there closer to Brookhaven National Lab?
I know that was, I'm going to let that be announced. There is some work on that. We are looking at Yaphank. And at this point, I think we're in discussions past the design phase, I think. I'll let them discuss that. That's something that's not on my list. These are the ones I was allowed to, as far as public go. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Shut up.
So guys, so grab Vanessa on the way out. We were going to have a more robust Q&A, but we're a little behind schedule because we got so many great updates from all of you guys. So let's give Vanessa Lockle a great hand. She came bearing gifts. And we now kind of know, thanks to the video, thank you, Rob Conforto, our videographer, for logging all that. So now we know this. But this is great. This is great stuff. Let's give her a hand again. Vanessa Lockle, thank you. All right, so we do have our Nassau controller here. We're going to get to him in a minute, but we do have our Suffolk Deputy County Exec. And sometimes people say Vision does too much with Nassau, so we got to balance here with Suffolk. So John's got to run out in a minute, so he's got a minute. John Kamen.
Thank you, Eric, and good morning. It's great to be here. Of course, I wear a lot of hats, or have worn a lot of hats from Nassau and Suffolk. Suffolk County, we're in the process of beginning a new administration. Steve Bellone is starting another 4-year term. We had a successful election season, and so we're looking forward to really continuing the progress that we've made. The focus for us right now is, of course, always economic development, and it's always how do we improve the quality of life of all our communities. But we're looking internally. We're looking at making sure that we fix our government in ways that we weren't not necessarily able to do in the past. So you'll be hearing more about some of the internal things we're doing. We're focused, though, on personnel. We're building a human resources department. We're focused on procurement, how we acquire things. We're focused on how we pay our bills. Again, if you do any business with Suffolk County, you'd know that's an important issue. We want to make sure that the small businesses and all businesses that work with us are getting paid in a timely manner, that we're working with all our partners, that we are somebody that you as a business would want to work with. And that means getting our house in order. We've been, over the last couple of years, amending our laws, reforming our charter, reforming our codes, and we are poised to make some significant changes. Not the most interesting things in the world, but if you're doing business with Suffolk County, or you want to do business with Suffolk County, this is pretty important. We buy $1 billion worth of stuff a year. Suffolk County buys $1 billion worth of stuff a year. And so if you sell stuff, you should be looking to us to participate. And so,
You're a shopper.
Yes, that's right.
John Kamen's a shopper.
That's right. And this is the Costco of all Costcos. So, and so how we do it really does matter, and the way we do it. And so we're looking at our personnel, and we have Retha, our new, as you've met earlier, our diversity and tolerance officer. We're looking at how we govern. We oversee 47,000 employees through our civil service agency. That's the county, it's all the towns, it's all the school districts. So the way we govern, the way we handle ourselves is important. And so we need to become a model. And we know before we go to other communities through our shared services program, through our procurement systems and everything else, we need to make sure that our house is in order. And so that's really been the focus over the last couple of years. And it'll continue to be over this next year. That said, we still are very much engaged and interested in water, sewers. Someone had indicated earlier that they're interested in bringing sewers in their community. The $340 million that we obtained from the state is now out and going to several communities to build sewers. We want to get more. We want to focus on ways to continue to fund sewers and water quality. And so any community who's interested in bringing in sewers into their community or ways to develop water protection, even if it's not through a sewer, please contact us and stay in touch with us, because that's going to be a priority for us in the future. So we're going to be doing a State of the County in a couple months. We'll highlight our goals sooner rather than later. But we want to make sure that everyone here appreciates that we hope to be a partner. We do one more thing. We do have we are partnering with Nassau County in an anti-hate task force. And one of the things that's important for our region, for business, for communities, for quality of life, is that everybody respects everybody else. And we understand that it's not just about tolerance, it's about growing our diversity in a way that helps us all rise together. And so this joint task force with Nassau County, there was a march a week or so ago, is going to be something that we're very much focused on, and if anyone's interested in participating or has ideas about that, please contact us as well. So again, thank you on behalf of Steve Malone. We look forward to working with everybody, as well as the Main Street Alliance and the other organizations, so thanks again. I appreciate it.
All right, so I'm just envisioning John Kamen shopping, so that's one. And definitely get to them on sewers. They've been able to get sewers with Peter Scully, who's just phenomenal. Have been able to get sewers in places in Mastic and in Kings Park and in Smithtown, and places where folks didn't know was ever going to happen, right? So, and there are other communities that need sewers within Suffolk County. So we could try to provide a ground game for you. We have 500 of these cards filled out. Many of you here today of members in different communities. So what we're going to be doing now, and John reach out to us, is part of our action item is to provide mutual aid to each of you in different communities or on regional issues to try to provide support when the counties are doing the right thing. So we'll get you back, man. Thank you. All right, so let's go back to Nassau. I got it was not too long ago, there was a seminar in Uniondale, one of our staff was out at, and a whole report on really the demographics of Nassau County and the economic impacts for young people, and Jack Schneerman's kind of commandeering this from the Comptroller's Office. So really happy to see that, and Jack's here to give us a couple-minute update on where that's going. Jack.
Good morning, everybody. So first of all, it's just great to see everybody in one room who knows our communities frontwards and backwards, and who better to move our communities forward than those who do. And collectively, looking around the room, there's a lot of wins under belts of really the hard work of moving everything forward. So normally, I would come and I would talk a little bit about our Open Nassau Transparency Portal and invite everybody to take a look at that, and I do. And I would tell you a little bit about our audits, and I would love to. But today I wanted to come with a different mission and just put in a plug, because in addition to sort of all the nuts and bolts work that we're doing in our office, we started a policy and research unit to have a look at some of the challenges facing our county, our region, and ask the question of, so how are we doing, and how are other people doing, and and how are other regions doing? All of which gets to the idea of what is the deal of living here, right? And this is what this group really embodies. The deal of living here is, as we all know, we have proximity to New York City, we have good trains, and public transportation to and from, theoretically, and it is improving, and that's good to hear. And I was not intending that to be a dig. We have beaches, we have good schools, right? There's a whole sort of deal that people make with the idea of living here, and as we all know, in a variety of ways, that deal is under some economic threat. And as with everything, as with every business, as with every region, as with every government, it needs updating and it needs modernization. So with that in mind, we started this policy and research unit, and we've done a series of reports that I will briefly mention, but the actual reports are in the back of the room for anyone who'd like to take a look. But what I came here today mostly to say is, The reports that we do only really matter if A, we have good, thoughtful partners to work with, like the folks in this room, who know what's going on the ground and can work with us and say, this is an issue that our region faces, please take a look at it. And B, folks in the room can then pick up those reports and bring them into the communities and have those conversations so that we can actually move the hard work of change forward when we highlight opportunities for improvement. So just some quick examples. We started, as Eric mentioned, we started with a demographic analysis of Nassau County. And Nassau County, as folks in this room probably know, is getting older and is getting more diverse. And particularly that diversity is happening at a very rapid rate where we will be majority minority significantly before the rest of the country. The report gets into the details, but the simple answer is that our Hispanic community has gone up over 40%, our Asian community over 40%. So we're seeing a real diversification in our county, and our argument is that our government needs to modernize and meet the needs of this diverse population and not sort of be oriented towards the Long Island of 50 years ago. Probably near and dear to a lot of folks' heart in the room, we did a next generation report on what we can do to keep our next generation here in Nassau County, here on Long Island, and make our island a great place for folks to live. We doubled down on that just recently and did a modernization update on all of this. And here's what we saw, really simple. It used to be that 16% of 20-somethings on Long Island lived at home. And that was about equal to the national numbers. Today, that number's at 44%. 44% of 20-somethings living at home. And we all know it, right? We just needed we just needed those numbers to show us. We know it because we see it every day. We know it because we all know 20-somethings who say, I can't afford a place to live. That's why, organizations like this are so critical. And we know it because what we're seeing is as those 20-somethings hit their mid-30s and they've saved up a few bucks, too many of them are making the decision that other regions are the place for them to go. So we know we have our work cut out for us. In addition, we've done work on veterans, food insecurity, we did a big focus on equity. We're going to be continuing that over the course of the next several months. So I say all of that as background to say this. We want to work with you on our upcoming reports, right? As I said, our reports only matter, and we can come up with the best facts, the best data, the best information, the best recommendations. But if they're not informed by your experience on the ground, and then they're not carried forward to fruition by those of us who are on the ground, they don't mean anything. So we want to work together as one community to move our island forward. While you're at it, by the way, all the reports are available on our Open Nassau Transparency Portal. That's opennassau.nassaucountiny.gov, and there you can see our open checkbook and all the different ways that we've brought transparency to Nassau County government. And I wouldn't be remiss in doing my job if I didn't mention one word before I leave: census. Let's go get the money that we deserve. So let's get everybody counted. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you.
Thank you, Jack. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
So, and that's Stevens over there, right? Is that your guy? Brett. Yes? Oh, Brett, sorry. He's got the reports, so if you want to leave those, pass those around, folks want to get them. And before Jack runs out, I just want to say, problem we've been having is we get this data, we had this conversation, folks in Manhattan make up data for Long Island, and then they end up in reports. And we know the differentiation on these things. For example, Newsday's quoting things like only 3,000 units of transit-oriented development have been approved in the last dozen years. Well, we know it's 14,000 and 10,000 being built. We know that because we know all of you approving things and getting things done, because it's hyper-local information. We got to cobble together that hyper-local information about who's being hurt by gentrification. Let's get specific about that. Let's get into the weeds on this and give you better numbers. So there's a homework assignment that we have here. So instead of reading that article and being like, how the hell did they say that? Who told them this? Instead of really get to the source, get the information out there to you. So let's give Jack a hand for being connected to us. Okay, great. So let's continue. We do have a couple more reports. I know some folks got to run out. If folks can stay till 10 o'clock, I think it would be really awesome. I'm going to shout out to two people before we get to our next section. Really brief, Steve Flotteren, what's happening in Bay Shore?
Bay Shore's still on the move. Right now, the project on Park Avenue is under construction. Love to see that construction. Can't have the units exactly it is, but a lot of stuff's marching north of Main Street. Recently came in, Toro College is looking to sell, and there was a presentation recently from one developer for 450 unit development, I believe it's Strytech. The hospital is looking for other expansions. Right now, they're building a parking garage right now in downtown Bay Shore for the hospital, and that's for their reinvestment there. Maybe I'll just refer over to our community development agency if there's anything else they felt, because I'm not in the town anymore, I'm in the county, but they might know more.
That's all right. No, good. All right, so we can get to you guys after. I know Bay Shore and Islip, that's the Islip table over there. So Debbie's got Central Islip and Bay Shore, so we can get to the CDA guys. Thank you, Steve, for all you've done through the years in Bay Shore. Let's give him a hand. Debbie, was there anything more on either Baldwin or Freeport that you wanted to weigh in on? You got it covered? Okay. Let's give you a hand for your leadership again, please. Complete street studies are tough. We're doing one in Hicksville. Folks get grumpy. Okay, so let's shift. We're going to hear from, before we clear out, we want to hear the Nassau and Suffolk updates from the local chambers, but we do have folks on the agenda that we want to get to, and we did promise that we'd connect better this year with minority small business one of the critiques that some downtown advocates have is, you make these nice, pretty downtowns, and that's nice for white people, but what about all communities? And quite frankly, when you really look at Long Island communities, what's driving our Main Street revitalization are a lot of diverse small businesses, the diversity of our main streets, and the small business owners that are coming in. It's not white America anymore. It's really changed, and it's great. And it's really driving the local economy, and it doesn't get enough press. But while we're at it, we can do a better job connecting minority small businesses to development opportunities and making sure that they're plugged into all the grants and resources and financing that's out there for everybody. So that's really what we want to do. And our dear friend, a board member who's on, I think you're on, what's the word? You're on leave of absence, sabbatical from us. Yes, he now works for Nassau County with Office of Minority Affairs. Lionel Chitty, working with us with Hicksville Forever, and he's got some thoughts on this subject. This is your new task, Lionel. Lionel Chitty, Director of Nassau County Minority Affairs. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I will not, believe it or not, I will not be talking about Hicksville today. I got my hands pretty much full. Eric asked me to talk about the minority opportunities, women-owned business opportunities, service-disabled, veteran-owned businesses opportunities within our downtown areas. Very easily, it comes down to a couple of things. Vanessa said it, you need to get registered. A lot of these are transit-oriented development opportunities. You need to get registered. You need to show them that you have the capacity, that you're in the system, that you're ready to do the work. Whether it's getting registered with the MTA Long Island Railroad, New York, New Jersey Port Authority, with the city, with the state, even with the county, you need to be registered. Right now, we're in the process of doing a disparity study between both counties. That disparity study, we're looking to award that at the end of February, and that disparity study will tell us what opportunities are the counties providing right now, and what businesses, what type of services are there out there for minority, women-owned, service-disabled-owned, veteran businesses, and how can we match them together? My biggest problem over the past 100 days is being able to find enough certified, qualified businesses to take advantage of these opportunities. And we have these conversations. Unfortunately, a lot of people get certified and they just think the opportunity is going to fall in their lap. Well, it's not. You need to sit there, you need to go out there, you need to work the system. You need to talk to those people who make those purchases within those departments. You can talk to them. They're not behind a closed wall. You can pick up the phone. They will be able to talk to you. We had a public forum back in, I believe it was October, at Farmingdale, where we had about 300 people show up, and we actually had Nassau County procurement folks from those different departments standing there waiting for people to come and talk to them. And it's a little scary when you find people that they say they do IT services. I said, here's the Department of IT. And they go, well, this is what I do, and this, we don't need that, and the guy walks away. You need to push a little bit more. You need to find out what they are doing and find your specific space within their world that you can plug into. You need to talk to them about new ideas that are coming up, new products, new services that they might not be aware of that you can provide. Again, you need to be in that system. You need to talk to them. You need to be part of it. When it comes to the downtown areas, you need to be involved in your community. You need to be involved with your chambers of commerce. You need to be sitting at the table. You need to be part of those community benefit agreements to make sure that your voices are heard, that you are a part of that process, and that you do have the opportunity to be able to participate in what's going on in your community. The controller said it, Vanessa said it, you need to be part of it. Our office is there to help. We're there to help you and educate you regarding the process. We've had a couple of seminars where our chief procurement officer for Nassau County actually came down and walked people through the entire process. We're trying to automate as much as possible and get everything electronic, get things digital to make it a little bit more easier to remove those barriers from doing business with the county and also with any of the other municipalities. Our doors open. It does say the Office of Minority Affairs, but I don't care who you are. If you have questions, you have concerns, you want to participate, you need some direction, please give us a call. Thank you.
That was great, Lionel. Wow, you like condensed my head spinning on all this stuff. So this is a serious issue that we could just do so much better on. So we actually have Lionel's take from Nassau, and then we also have a gentleman who worked for Suffolk County for many years as a lobbyist and worked with the Malone administration, who's now with McBride Consulting. Robin McBride, who everybody knows, has just been fantastic at advocating for projects from Nice Bus and sewer systems and Suez and others. So he does a great job. But Luis Montez works for McBride, Robin McBride, and Robert was kind enough to lend his time here to share with us your perspective on getting minority business opportunities into our downtown work. So, Luis.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. As Eric said, my name is Luis Montes. I'm a partner at McBride Consulting, and basically we're business development and government relations firm. A couple of things I think that Lionel hit on, and some of the things that are happening right now. So Nassau County and Suffolk County are going through an RFP process right now that are going to be issuing for disparity studies. That is basically the first step to issue goals. What you hear in terms of MWE, basically the utilization goals. These are basically at the state level. There's a 30% utilization goal for MWBs, meaning MWs, and a 6% for SDVOBs, which are the service disabled veterans business enterprises. So those are in total 36% at the state level. At the local level, Nassau County has some goals that are being updated with this RFP. Suffolk County is about to implement those goals with this new RFP. Hopefully those goals are going to be, disparity studies takes a little while, so it's going to be probably a couple of years before we see those new numbers. Couple of things I think that I mentioned. One of the things is it's not only about being certified in the MWE world, it's about having the qualifications, and that's basically the main challenge that you have. Like just look at the neighbors, west of us, New York City. The mayor set a goal to certify 9,000 MWE companies, and they did it. They did it in record time, 2 years before schedule. Unfortunately, out of those, only about 600 of them are actually procuring from New York City, which is very, very low out of the 9,000 companies that are already certified. So the issue here that we have and the opportunity that we have, that we have found at McBride Consulting is basically how is it that we can get and cut red tape, government red tape, and a lot of also the requirements that many of the prime contractors, general contractors have in regards to issues, issues like bonding, issues like insurance. Those are issues that many times many of the these small businesses and have no experience or simply have no no record. So this is basically one of the things that we need to address moving forward. Yesterday, the governor in the governor's budget announcement, he announced the consolidation of the application process at the state level, which is going to be key, I think, to expedite the process. Currently, the state has a backlog of 5,000 plus applications. It takes about 3 years for companies to get certification. So that's a long time, sometimes for companies that are waiting for projects to be executed. So these are some of the challenges that the MWE have, and I'm available for any questions after the event. Thank you.
So it sounds like we got work to do. So what's that stat? 600 out of 9,000? I'm gonna repeat that, 600 out of 9,000? That's not good. That's not good. All right, so we've gotten a lot of numbers today. 600 out of 9,000, 44% of young people living at home. How many baby boomers are thrilled about that? That their kids are still home? No, you want them to go. 600 out of 9,000, that's just awful. We gotta do better. We gotta do better. We need to make this more of a focus moving forward. Oh, I see, Shelley, great. You're an expert on this issue too. I could have had you up here speaking. Go.
There's some creative things in your position that you could probably do to help us build capacity so that the small businesses can compete. And so I'd like you to think about that.
And just to add to that, you are correct. The largest purchase in the county right now is the Department of Public Works. We've been in touch with them, and they are looking to try to bundle some of those projects. We get a lot of calls for waivers. We try to put brakes on that and ask them to do a little bit better to try to make some of the aspirational goals that are out there. And we're also seeking some partners out there to help with some of the technical background as far as services that P-Tech offers that are not here on Long Island. And we're trying to do as much as we can to educate them, because we don't only want them to get the contract, we want them to understand it, bid properly, get the contract, and actually fulfill the contract and move forward.
So we've got the talent of Lewis, we have talent of Lionel. Shelley, we got your talent. The ASEAN folks are great as far as microloans and microlending to small businesses and bringing people through the process. I know there's lots of folks, the Hispanic Chamber, the African American Chamber, there's small businesses plugged in to our network. What I'm gonna ask everybody to do is, if you've got something and didn't give an update today, and we can do better in our newsletter about getting information. We get out to 25,000 people every Friday. So I want information from you guys. I don't want to be writing the same stuff every week. Not that we do, but get us this information. I know Shelley did a great newsletter on IDAs. We got to plug that into our newsletter. You know, Louis, you got information. Lionel, all the new things that you're doing. I know you've been in there like 100 days. So we got tons to do. But get this information to us so we can get it out. All right. So we have 4 more updates I want to do before we close out. And I want everyone to stick with us through this. So I'm going to start with Gina. Gina Coletti, Suffolk Chambers. Come on down.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, a couple of things. First, I know there's a hot topic everybody seems to be touching on is MWBEs. We are in the process, I was on the phone with Angie Carpenter the other day discussing our first quarter meeting is going to be held in the town of Islip, and we're in the process of making that, planning that date and the location, so stay tuned. You'll obviously get that as it arrives. One of those topics is going to be focusing on the MWBE. We had the Small Business Development Center in Stony Brook is going to be speaking on it to obviously educate all the minority and the women out there to do what they need to do in order to get where they need to be. Everybody is talking about the same thing today, so more to come on that. Also, our last meeting we had was in December, and we had it out east, and the West Hampton Business Alliance had reached out. They wanted to do a meeting out there. And the hot topic, I had gotten a phone call from the Riverhead Chamber of Commerce because of this new bail reform and how disturbing it was to the people in the Riverhead area, because they do have a prison in Riverhead, and a lot of the small businesses in the community were very concerned, and the Tanger outlets are there as well. And a lot of the business owners wanted to raise their hand to say that, their concerns. So we proceeded to have a judge come to speak at that meeting to explain all the issues regarding bail reform, just to educate everybody on what it's all about. We had a town council and woman from the town of Riverhead, and we also had the supervisor of Southampton to speak. So there is a lot of concern out there, just so that everybody knows. If there is anything that you want to say, if you want to reach out, by all means, just contact Suffolk Chambers. You can go on the website. Next thing I want to say is Suffolk County Women's Advisory Commission. I chair that commission for the county. I want everybody to be aware that once a year in the month of March, they award one woman from Suffolk County. It's a Woman of Distinction Award. In order to get nominated for that, you need to speak to your legislators. There's a lot of incredible women out there doing a lot of wonderful things. And in order for a woman to be nominated, sometimes, the legislators are very busy, respectively so. And so it can't hurt if you know a woman that has been doing outstanding work and doing things outside of their normal job, not something they are paid for, to reach out to your legislator. Each legislator gets one nominee, and the Suffolk County Women's Advisory Commission reviews all those bios and resumes and awards one woman every year. So it's just something I want to say.
When's the next meeting for the chambers?
The next meeting, that's what I was just saying, is we're in the process of planning with Angie Carpenter. It will be in March, and we're in the process of planning that, and the time, the date, the location. More to come on that. All righty, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Gina. I know there's so much going on. Their meetings, definitely, there's so many reports. I mean, it was like, there's so much happening in Suffolk County, so hats off. Let's give a hand to the Suffolk Chambers. They're really pulling it together. A group that's had actually decades longer than the Suffolk Chambers is the Nassau Chambers. They've reconstituted themselves with President Dennis Grossman. Also, he's with Great Neck Chamber as well, but is the president of the Nassau Chambers, so congratulations. Dennis, can you give us 2 minutes before we close out? How you guys are doing?
Good morning, everybody, and a happy and a healthy new year to everybody. The Nassau Council is a good forum for all the chambers to get together, 49 chambers, and share information and kind of cross-pollinate and educate each other as to what we can do and what we can learn from each other to help each other's chambers. We're in the process right now of doing a lot of restructuring. Juan Vitas is handling our social media and campaigns. We're looking at how we can get together as a group and help the local chambers to actually start to do something to give back as to what can we do for you, as opposed to just having a meeting a month and discussing a few things and leaving and then publishing a report. I think that we have to sit down, which is what we're doing in the next meeting, and discuss how we can actually develop a mechanism so we can help local chambers. I mentioned something to Eric this morning that we're looking at what resources we can provide to the local chambers. A local business person, we had a meeting yesterday. I said, we know all these people that we can help you get educated on developing your property into mixed use. So we can provide a lot of resources back to the people that need it. And I think that's where we're headed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Good stuff. So clearly, the local chambers, and it's just great to hear from them. I'm sorry they don't have more time. A lot of people are going to say they speak for all the chambers on Long Island. Your local chamber speaks for your community. Your coalition of chambers lift up those voices. So there may be people running around saying, we're the chambers, we're Angel's laughing because he knows this. And many of you know this, right? So, Long Island chambers this and that one chamber that. You know what? Long Island is a bottom-up place, and you guys are the ones that drive the process. I mean, I'm happy to be a little bit of a ringleader at times and sometimes a promoter, lobbyist for you guys, but I don't speak for y'all. I don't. You guys speak for yourselves, and your coalitions do a fantastic job. So support them in every way possible. And as this year goes on, we will be supporting these guys like we do every year. We're going to try to do it better with your input. So again, shouting out to Dennis Grossman from Nassau Chambers and Gina Coletti from the Suffolk Chambers. Let's give them a hand for what they do. Now, We have the African American Chamber. They don't want to speak yet. Maybe we'll get them at the next agenda to speak a little bit more about what you're doing. You guys have monthly meetings. They're awesome. And you're coming up with us to Albany, which is awesome. And, you know, they know to beat me up when I do things wrong or say stupid things. So they're awesome for that. But Liz Custodio is also on the board of the Hispanic Chamber. She's got a quick update from what they're doing. They're many decades old chamber. Fantastic.
88.
Okay.
We've been around a long time. We're also members of the National Hispanic
Okay.
Chamber of Commerce, so we go and participate in many of the events and people think of what's going on. But everyone pretty much covered, you know, the fact that collaboration is key. So I just want to let you know, lihcc.org, and I just have the phone number here, and it's 516-333-0105. The reason I'm sharing that with you is because we want to hear from you also. And we should be sharing and exchanging information. I know in all of your communities, there are a lot of Hispanic business owners, and many of them have the passion. Now they need the tools and the knowledge. So absolutely collaborating with all of what's going on with, you know, the programs and access to capital and so forth. You mentioned upskill is the CDFI, and, you know, again, we work in partnership. We have 2 huge events every year. We have the Latina Hat Luncheon in May, and we honor women that have been out there doing excellent jobs in many walks of life, and the annual gala in November with.
That's a lot of fun. That's a crazy night.
400 plus people, and honor huge corporations. And
I don't do the dancing part, but I'll wear a strange hat to cover my bald head. It's great. No, let's give Liz a hand in the Hispanic Chamber and their work. I know Angel's part of that too. He comes with us to Albany. So a lot of great stuff. All right, before we go, I got to acknowledge, I'm so sorry, Magda Campbell with Office of U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. She's been a great advocate for the office. Thank you. Thank you for being here. What'd you say?
So thank you for the invitation, and I will make sure that I bring everything back to the senator. We know what federal partnership means for a lot of communities, especially in regards to infrastructure. So this is one of the reasons I like attending these meetings, and make sure that I'm here to make sure that this partnership happens, because we know the money has to come from somewhere. So,
Right.
thank you.
Right. No, let's give a hand. You know, some of the money for sewers wouldn't have happened if it didn't come from the feds. And certainly transportation dollars we need. Just because every day the federal government is polarized, it doesn't mean there aren't advocates working for us to kind of cut through the red tape, so thank you. Before we close out, I do have to acknowledge, and we'll get to, Ronkonkoma was here, Long Beach was here, Valley Stream was here, Hempstead was here, Patchogue was here. Sorry we didn't get to you. We're out of time. We're going to get you guys next time. Island Park is doing some great stuff. So we just can't get to everybody in one shot. So we're going to get you guys on the next meeting. I do want to acknowledge, we do have to thank our sponsors, and First Equity Title, Mary Beth's hiding behind her phone here. Mary Beth Petropoli, who doesn't like to speak and doesn't want to, but she's just fantastic. Let's give her a hand. Not only do they give, and they're just fantastic in the title work that they do and all that, but they give to support our organization, support this coalition. They also have a pink tie. If folks know about Pink Tie, there are monthly meetings, they give back, and towards that end, Vision is taking that theme forward, where at our big events, $1 for every person that attends goes back to a local charity. So that was $1,200 to Salvation Army. There were 110 people here today. We're going to just round it up. We'll do $2 for every person who attends. So we'll do a $250 donation we have not decided what local charity yet we're going to give it to, but there are tons of great choices. So we're going to do that as a principle of giving back. We may just give it back into the Pink Tie pot. They do a great job. So we got to keep doing that in the work we do. We got to give back to local communities. And with that, I know that was Cindy was talking to me about kindness. We got to just focus on kindness, right? So thank you, Cindy. Thank you guys for what I thought was a pretty robust meeting. And I know, stick around after and mingle with each other. But we want to see you in Albany. If you're available, certainly see you at Complete Streets if you're available also. And if you didn't fill out these forms and you're not getting emails, please fill them out. Thank you.